Okay, ceramics class, we're going to build a pond. This is a video that has a lot of requests. So I'm going to go ahead and start the project. I'm going to restart the project and I'm going to go ahead and click here. So you can see it says this is what we're going to make. The first thing I need to do is drag a cylinder on. So there it is. In another video, I talked to you about turning perspective off. I'm going to go ahead and do that here. You can see that this grid gets smaller as it gets further away. And it also distorts some things when you look down at objects. So I'm going to get rid of that. So next step, scale the cylinder. So I'm going to go ahead and click this. You can see it's currently 20 tall. I'm going to scale it down to 3. The next thing it asks me to do is grab a workspace or work plane and put that right on top of the cylinder. Excuse me. Next, drag a cone. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And you can see that because the work plane is higher, it puts the cone right on top of that cylinder. We have to scale the shape shorter. It is currently 20. It needs to be 11. So I'm going to go ahead and scale that down. Next, we're going to drag a sphere over, try to get it as close as we can to the location. Looks like I did a pretty good job. We're going to scale it down to 18 millimeters. Currently it's 20 by 20 by 20. I'm going to go ahead and hold the shift key down while I grab this, and I'm going to scale it down to 18. And by holding shift, it scales all of the dimensions. Then it asks me to squish it. So I'm going to grab this top one and make it 5 millimeters tall. Okay, you can see it's not lined up. That's going to be okay. I'm going to fix that in a little bit. Next, drag a cone. So there it is. Next, scale it to 28. So you can see it needs to be a little bit taller. So I'm going to grab this point, bring it up to 28, and the bottom of it needs to be 14. I'm going to grab this corner without holding shift this time, and I'm going to drag it until I get 14 by 14. Beautiful. Next, it's going to ask me to move the cone over to, oops, Control Z because I made a mistake. Click off of it, click back on it to select it. Oh, I can't seem to do this. What's going on? All right, let me this time. It's not quite in the right place. So I'm going to try to move that over, and it needs to be lifted up. So when you lift something up, you click on this triangle. So I lifted that up 3. Again, there's an alignment problem, but we're going to fix that soon. Next, drag another cone. This one I'm going to flip. A few people have given me feedback that this is where they get lost. So pay special attention here. I need to scale it to a diameter of 12. Again, not holding shift. I'm going to move this over until it's 12 by 12. It looks like it says scale it taller, which is interesting because it's 20 and I actually need to make it 19. It's just a little bit of a mistake by whoever came up with this tutorial. They want to rotate it. So up here, I'm going to grab this sort of arcy arrow and I'm going to rotate it 180 degrees. I got to move it up a little bit. So I'm going to move it up 3, I believe, maybe a little bit more. And I'm going to shift it across. Now, again, I'm not quite in the right place. So I'm going to rotate it around, try to drag it to that highlighted area. And it looks like I got to bring it up just a little bit more. And the last form or shape it's going to make me do is, it's going to ask me to bring a work plane over. So right there, and it's going to have me put a sphere on. And that sphere is going to go right there roughly. Scale the sphere by 8 by 8 by 8. If you remember, I hold down shift, then I grab a corner and then I move the whole thing down 8 by 8 by 8. You can see I've got some real alignment issues. Before I fix that, I'm going to go ahead and move the work plane. So I'm going to click the work plane, and then anywhere that's not on the shape, we'll put it back down at the bottom. And now I'm going to select all by highlighting and or holding left click and then holding down and highlighting everything. I'm going to go up here to align, click there, and then I'm going to click here and here to perfectly stack all of my forms. And then the last thing I have to do is group all of these. So if I accidentally deselected things, I can reselect them like this, holding the left mouse button down and highlighting and grouping. When they're all one color, you have completed the pawn. Thanks for watching.